question is, how do I get out of a sales slump? Now, we all face this, and we may face it more often than other people. But the only really way to get out is to focus on your why. Why are you in sales? What do you want to get out of it? Why are you getting up in the morning? Why are you making those calls, those emails, going through that grind? I usually focus on the smart way. How do you think through? How do you focus on the best way of doing things? But I think people also have to have that why. I've got a pretty big why, but I start with it every morning. I visualize, meditate's probably too strong of a word for what I do. But I in my mind, I think about it. I remind myself of why I'm doing this, why I'm excited about it. What am I trying to get out of it? And if you don't have that why, then you really aren't going to be very well motivated. Everybody who has a lot of motivation has a super big why. And it might be just competition. It might be to make more money than the person next to them, keeping up with the Joneses or accelerating past the Joneses or prove somebody wrong. Those are all okay. But there's also the people who find, creating something or having a charity. Those are all big whys. People will always do more for others than they will do for themselves. And this is something, I was talking to a buddy about salespeople and having big families or kids in private school. And that was their why. But I don't know if it was just the kids or just being a great parent. And there's nothing wrong with any of these. And I'm not making a judgment call on any of these. My message here is to create this for you. It will get you out of a slump. It will keep you on the right track, but it is an exercise. And what ends up happening is people take the thermostat approach to this instead of the habit form of it. The habit form of it is, you pick a time, and it doesn't take more than a minute a day. Write down, have a picture, have a song, something that reminds you of why you're doing it, what you want to get out of it, what excites you about it. That is what's going to keep you going. That is going to get you focused on the things that you need to be focused on and excite you. Without this, you're just a cog in the wheel. You're just kind of grinding it. And I don't think the hustle and grind lifestyle is going to be sustainable without the big why. Even the hustle and grinder, Gary V, he wants to buy a football team. God bless him. Go buy a football team. Now, that excites him. It's a big, fat goal. It's long term. That fine. I have a big, fat goal, too. That's very long term. I don't know if it's any more realistic or not, but it is what excites me. And the point is, it's only you. You don't have to tell anybody. It might be empowering to tell somebody who may support you. It might not be too valuable to tell people who will, put you down or tell you can't do it, or that might motivate you. You really think through what gets you motivated and understand that your motivation level is up to you. And don't look outside of yourself for it. Yes, you can go and watch Tony Robbins or somebody else, but that's like taking a cup of coffee. Or what I do, I take a caffeine pill. And it's good. I take one first thing in the morning instead of a cup of coffee. You get the same caffeine little buzz. It's a great way to start the day. It doesn't upset your stomach, and you don't have to go to Starbucks to get it. And there's no cleanup or prep, and it's a great way. But the problem is, you can't take one every day, all day, because it's an artificial stimulant, and it's kind of harmless. But what you need is something internal, something that excites you, something that you're passionate about. And I don't mean follow your passion. I think too many people look at sales and say, it's not my passion. Well, honestly, it wasn't my passion to begin with either. It became my passion because I liked the results of doing it. Once you become a little bit good at something, you get into that flow state where you're just a tiny bit out of your comfort zone all the time, and you're growing, and then you see your income grow, you see your influence grow, you see your ability to make things happen in the world increase, and all of a sudden you like it. It's a snowball. Now, the problem is it works in the other way too. And I've seen this too often, like when you see people get depressed. What happens? That they don't go to work, or they don't work that hard. Their boss gets a little sick of them. They get talked to, and all of a sudden, one way or another, they get work themselves out of the job, and then they get a B-level job or a C-level job, and the same thing happens, and they go, oh, I'm way better than this, and then all of a sudden they get a D-level job. And it's terrible. And I've seen too many people, certainly guys who, when they get older, because they start working for people younger than them, it's very easy to get into this. And it's certainly in sales because especially, you might have a great quarter, a great year, a great couple years at a company. And if you make a bad choice, we've all made them, I made them, you get into a rut. And if you don't, no one's going to pull you out of it. You got to push yourself out of it so that you can build yourself back up, brick by brick. But understand it's up to you. It's what you focus on. It's what excites you. Explore that. And hopefully that will get you going and make it a habit. Do it every day, even if it's just for a minute. It only takes a minute. Hey, that was another great question. Hey, as a follow-up, make sure you're connecting up with me on LinkedIn, Brian G. Burns on LinkedIn. Also, if you're on LinkedIn, if you see some of my content, I really appreciate it if you share it, comment, like it, all of that. It really helps out the show. And make sure you're connecting up with the partners, nudge.ai. You get 1 free month with the Brutal Truth passcode, all one word, Brutal Truth. The same is true with Pipedrive. Pipedrive.com, you get 1 month free instead of the 2 weeks. Who can evaluate a product in 2 weeks? Just doesn't make sense. Get a whole month with the Brutal Truth. Also, make sure you're checking out the B2B Revenue Leadership Podcast. I'm sure you're a Brutal Truth listener already, but that podcast is really taking off. And go to B2B... Another B2B, b2brevenue.com. That's where I blog. That's where you can get your free ebook. Just submit your email address. It emails you a HTML file with the link in it. Just click on that link and you get the book for free. And on b2brevenue.com is my training tab. Just look at training, go down there and click on that. You can find the courses that make the most amount of sense for you. And you got to think of it as an investment. And if you got to ask yourself the question, why do I expect other people to invest in me and I don't invest in myself? Quit thinking like an employee. You're an entrepreneur, a salespreneur, whether you like it or not. Either that or you're going to be an order taker, and you don't want to be that. So you got to get better. And the only way to get better is to practice, learn, get feedback, do it again, practice, learn. That cycle. That's what the training course is all about. You get office hours. You benefit from other people selling other products into other market spaces. Understand what's working for them today. Also, if you're interested in career advice, I got a career advice podcast. I know, Brian, enough with the podcasts. But everybody likes a little bit of career advice. I answer questions there. I kind of share with you what I've seen work and what I've seen fail as far as careers and the mistakes that I've seen people make. So check that out, career advice on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. Really appreciate you listening, and we'll see you next time.